All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's get right into it today. In this explainer, we are breaking down a seriously fascinating, kind of hidden corner of the digital world, the paid clipping economy. We're going to do a full-on anatomy of a hustle breakdown, looking at one creator's very specific, documented experiment with trying to scale views for actual profit. Look, if you've ever found yourself scrolling and wondering how those massive view counts actually translate into real money for everyday people, well, you are in the exact right place. Okay, let's dive into this, because this number right here, $0, that is the magic number for today. I want to highlight right out of the gate that this entire digital monetization strategy costs absolutely nothing to start. Zero upfront capital. You don't need a huge marketing budget, you don't have to buy any inventory, and get this, you don't even need to film your own original long-form content. You literally just need a strategy. And honestly, finding a hustle like that these days, it's incredibly rare. So, just to give you some quick context, this explainer is actually anchored in a creator's larger day-by-day challenge series. Day 1 was all about laying out the motivation. Day 2, they tried an Etsy listing, which, spoiler alert, kind of flopped and brought in $0. Day 3 was selling old textbooks they just had lying around the house, which managed to net $18. And that brings us right to Day 4's experiment, paid clipping. I think this gives us a really perfect baseline to understand why they pivoted to this totally different, entirely digital model. All right, Section 1, the paid clipping economy. Let's look at how this ecosystem actually functions. Before we get into the specific, gritty results of Day 4, we really need to understand the environment we're operating in here. So, paid clipping is basically a system where massive creators pay regular folks like you and me to extract and post short-form highlights. Think about the core problem. You've got these podcasters who absolutely love to talk for 3 hours straight, right? But they literally cannot manage, edit, and optimize hundreds of microclips all by themselves. It's a volume game. So what do? They open a backdoor opportunity for you to act as their decentralized distribution network. You find a great moment, you cut it, you post it, and you get to participate in the financial upside. And this brilliantly illustrates the two primary ways you get compensated in this ecosystem. You've got a flat rate per clip or a payout based on views. Now, some creators will just hand you a set fee for every usable video you turn in. Nice and simple. But the much more scalable side, and the one our source experiment really focused on, is the view-based payout. Basically, the more traction your specific cut gets, the more money you make. It totally incentivizes you to actually learn the psychology of what makes a clip go viral. It turns you into a highly motivated partner rather than just some hired hand. Moving on to Section 2, execution, the 1-hour process. So, shifting our focus down to the micro case study, here is the exact step-by-step physical execution the creator used to go from absolute beginner to having a live asset. First up, they joined the Whop marketplace. Think of it like a giant hub for finding these paid clipping programs. Second, they read the guidelines and picked a really compelling 45-second moment from a podcast. Third, they cut the video using CapCut, which, by the way, is a totally free editing app. Fourth, they threw on some engaging captions to keep viewer retention high. And fifth, they posted it directly to their own TikTok and Instagram. Honestly, it's a super accessible sequence of tools that takes a massive, intimidating video file and turns it into a ready-to-post piece of micro-content. All right, let's take a breath and slow it down for Section 3, the 24-hour reality check. We've talked about the big picture, we've gone through the steps, but now it is time to ground ourselves in the actual, methodical results of this experiment. The number one, I really want to emphasize this. That entire physical process we just outlined, finding the marketplace, learning the guidelines, hunting down that perfect 45-second clip, editing it in CapCut, and hitting publish, it took exactly 1 hour. For learning a completely brand new skill from scratch, an initial time investment of just 60 minutes is remarkably low friction. Now let's look at the actual traction, 340. After leaving those clips live for exactly 24 hours, this was the combined view count across TikTok and Instagram, 340 views. Now look, is that a viral explosion that breaks the internet? No way. But it is real human eyeballs on a piece of content generated entirely from scratch in under an hour. It completely proves that the distribution mechanism fundamentally works. But then we hit this number, $0. Yep. Despite those 340 views, despite learning the software, and despite successfully executing the whole 5-step process, the initial 24-hour payout was exactly 0. This right here is the ultimate reality check of the paid clipping economy. Listen to what the creator themselves had to say about this. Quote, "I'm not going to pretend I made money today because I didn't." End quote.
I absolutely love this transparency. In an online learning space that is just constantly obsessed with overnight riches, this kind of honesty builds immense trust. It positions this explainer and the source material itself as a completely hype-free reality. Hitting zero isn't a failure. It's just the true nature of how this specific system is structured.
So the crucial point is understanding why the payout is zero. Most of these programs pay out on a weekly basis and only after you hit a specific view threshold. This hustle, it is a slow burn. It's a real test for our TikTok fried attention spans for sure. It is definitely not instant gratification. Your clip is live, it's continuously accumulating views toward a payout, but it just hasn't crossed that specific threshold required to trigger the weekly cycle yet. The effort is banked, but the reward is delayed. But hey, now the creator understands exactly how the system works, which is going to make tomorrow's clip so much faster to produce. Okay, section 4, your clipping playbook. Let's apply this. Now that we actually understand the reality of the timeline and the delayed gratification this requires, let's shift into direct application mode. If you're a focused learner wanting to test this out yourself, here are your actionable takeaways directly from the source. First, go search Whop clipping to find marketplaces, or just look for creators who openly mention clipping programs in their content. Second, and guys, this is a major warning, read the payout terms carefully before you do anything. The rules vary wildly from creator to creator. Third, don't just cut randomly. Actually select genuinely interesting moments. Views are what pay you, so your clip quality directly dictates your payout. And finally, post consistently and just let those views accumulate. Oh, and if you are curious about the final result of this specific clip, you can actually track its midweek performance via the creator's Telegram channel. The source noted that they're posting extra updates over there, including the final weekly view count for anyone who wants to follow these slow burn results closely between the daily challenge updates. So what does this all mean? Which brings us to our final provocative question to wrap up this explainer. Is the slow burn of paid clipping actually worth your time? Or will day 5's totally screenless method prove to be the ultimate zero-cost hustle? We now know the patience and the 1-hour setup that paid clipping demands, but tomorrow's source material teases an entirely screenless approach. No way, right? I highly recommend checking out the creator's full series to see how it all unfolds and discover which hustle comes out on top. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your learning focused, and I'll see you on the next deep dive.